Scott Pilgrim is a successful graphic novel series with a movie based off of it, and here we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. For those not familiar, Scott Pilgrim is a story of a young Canadian boy out of high school who's in a band, he's coming of age, and he's dating a girl who comes with 7 deadly ex-boyfriends that want Scott dead. The graphic novel mixes humor, fighting, and video games very well, and they create this fantastic story that'll keep you reading until the end. Now the game takes this story and it throws it into an 8-bit world that calls back on the gameplay of games like Double Dragon and Streets of Rage. The art style fits the game very well because it almost blends in perfectly with the same art style from the comics from Brian Lee O'Malley. The game starts off with 4 playable characters: Scott, Ramona, Steven, and Kim. You can choose to play the game with up to 4 players or alone, and trust me when I say this, at the start of the game you will want others playing with you. Now sadly there is no online co-op, but just call a few of your friends over, open up a case of beer, and make a night out of this game. Now the game can become very difficult, as I said, and it can lead to frustrating moments. But that's not in a sense of bad gameplay, but just actual true difficulty. Something we don't see much of nowadays. You keep playing to master the combos and attacks so you can feel accomplished. The game does offer a leveling up system that comes with new attacks, and as you take down enemies you can collect money that can be used to buy food, to do things such as increasing your defense, and so forth. The world is placed on a map with 7 main stages that you work through. At the end of each stage, you face one of Ramona's exes, and never does the gameplay just die off. There are always new enemies, attacks, and the bosses just seem to get harder and harder. And when you beat the first boss as a level 1 character, you just can't even begin to imagine how much harder these bosses become. Now this doesn't include the fact that the game offers 3 difficulty settings. I'm really coming to terms right now that I'm making it sound like this game is impossible, and that's really not the case. I'm just saying you can't just run through it button mashing. There is a strategy to be had in this game, and you want to learn to block and attack accordingly. Enemy AI is very smart and blocks very well, and some enemies are almost impossible to attack as they tend to be these fat guys that block every hit you throw at them. I love seeing this game pushing the difficulty bar. I miss playing games that were just hard. Nowadays, when a game is hard, it's mainly because it's glitched. But this makes me feel like I felt when I was a kid, constantly replaying a level just because I know I can do it better on the next round. Now the game also throws back to other games and places, like when you're in subspace and so forth, which is a really nice touch. The attention to detail is just excellent, and as you run through levels you may see characters from the comics or recall story elements that may not be as obvious to the non-readers. But this definitely shouldn't keep you away if you've never experienced the novels. The game also has the best 8-bit boob physics I have ever seen. Or maybe that's just creepy and unrealistic. Whichever the case is, there it is. Also, make sure to read the manual. I think I played through most of the game not even knowing all the attacks and special combos due to never reading it, and those special attacks proved to be very helpful in later playthroughs. Like I said, the art style and graphics really pay homage to the graphic novels and 8-bit classics. The worlds are full and vibrant, bright colors, lots of usable items in the environment which allow for different character animations and attacks. Now, a game that you will be playing over and over again due to wanting to level up needs to have a good soundtrack, otherwise you'll just want to give up. Picture Mario without those classic tunes that get stuck in your head for ages. Well, Scott Pilgrim has that. The music is just amazing. I seriously cannot say enough about the soundtrack. It has its 8-bit flair to it, but it just fits so well with the world of Scott Pilgrim. Hell, in all honesty, I'd bump this without even having to play the game. It's that good. There are a few cutscenes in the game, but they are never anything to pull you away from the gameplay. They're just these little 20-second scenes that just push you forward along with the story. I really can't say enough about this game, and I feel like I'm not being really organized with this review, but really it's one of my favorite titles. If I don't know what to play, this game is the go-to game for me. In a world of digital downloadable games, this is a game that does not deserve to be overlooked. Oh! And not to mention, the game has unlockables. Go to the main menu when you're playing this game and put in this code. I'll pop it on the screen here, but right, B, right trigger, right, B, right trigger. And now, you have just unlocked Boss Rush mode. Here you just rush through and battle all the bosses with a timer. Whatever, that's cool. It's an extra. But it gets much, much better. Put in this code at the beginning. Down, up, right, down, up, right, down, up, right, right. And now, you have Zombie Survival mode. Can it get any better than this? Really? Seriously guys, if you miss 8-bit classics or the side-scrolling beat-em-ups that I've mentioned above, this is the game for you. The only negative thing I have to say about it is without friends, this game can become very difficult, so I hope you have some real-life friends to play Scott Pilgrim versus the world.